Where's Laura? Where has she gone? Well, she's gone to turn the oven on. So I will start this introduction. Hello and welcome to Articulate Warbling. With me, Zach, and...
me, Laura!
Who's coming in now. So this is a review for Black Widow.
People, my sister moved out west. You're a science teacher. Your husband, he renovates houses. You're thinking about moving, but you're gonna wait until the interest rates go down.
That's not my story. Before I was an Avenger, I made mistakes. And a lot of enemies.
His call sign's Taskmaster. He controls the Red Room. They're manipulated, fully conscious, but no choices.
I should have come back for you. How many others are there?
Enough.
We have to go back to where it all started. So they never do that to anyone again.
We're a family. We fight with you.
You won't win.
I've always found it best not to look into the past.
Okay, you got a plan, or shall I just stay duck and cover?
My plan was to drive us away.
Well, your plan sucks.
At some point, we all have to choose between what the world wants you to be and who you are. I made my choice. I'm done running. Here's what's gonna happen.
Natasha, don't slouch.
I'm not slouching.
You're going to get a back hunch.
Listen to your mother.
Oh my God, this...
Up. Listen.
All right, enough. All of you.
I didn't say anything. That's not fair.
Go.
Black Widow is basically set between Captain America Civil War and Avengers Infinity War. It carries the usual tropes of Marvel films. It's basically just about Natasha on the run from William Hurt's Thunderbolt Ross, and about how she's coming back together with her family that's not her family. And in the due process, we get Ray Winstone, hello mate, trained to do a Russian accent, and David Harbour, who steals the movie for me. And also it stars Florence Pugh as Yelena, Scarlett Johansson's sister, and of whom steals the movie. I don't really feel that there's much of a plot synopsis. Is there? Is there really? It's a bit convoluted and a bit all over the place. Would you like to read it?
I'm going to do it anyway because that is the way we go. Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow.
Natasha Romanoff.
I was trying to lengthen out Natasha to figure out how to say Romanoff. Because I was like, So, Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow. Black Widow, baby.
Black Widow, baby.
Black Widow, baby. Confronts the darker parts of her ledger when a dangerous conspiracy with ties to her past arises. Pursued by a force that will stop at nothing to bring her down, Natasha must deal with her history as a spy and the broken relationships left in her wake long before she became an Avenger. An Avenger. An Avenger. Now, we went to go and see this with friends. They liked it, but they didn't love it.
And we
Hated it.
didn't like it. The issue being the movie is trying to be a Bourne-esque espionage spy thriller, but there's not so much going on. ScarJo seems to be fizzling in the background as if she's part of the green screen back mapping composite. The real star of the show is David Harbour
Listen to your mother.
Oh my God, this...
Up.
as Black Widow's adoptive father.
Disagree.
Yelena, Florence Pugh, is sensational in this. We came away from Little Women like, oh God, she's played the whiniest, most ingratiating character ever known. And it
Come on, stop petting her. Please, please. No, you'll be sorry for that, Joe Martin. You will. You'll regret this. Stop looking at me like that.
imprinted on our minds. Every time Florence Pugh appears in anything, we're like, ah! But she is a very talented actress, and I think that she could carry on this character and add a little bit more to it than ScarJo herself has throughout the series. Not a huge Marvel fan. There's certain movies that I like over the others, but this one is fairly boring. It goes for a Bourne-styled aesthetic, whilst also throwing the usual Marvel things. Marvel films are generic and they're blueprinted and they all look the same. They go through the same resonances and beats.
Don't forget, it's all make-believe.
Yes, let's discuss that. That's more interesting than this movie. That should have really come in 2011 rather than now, because the propulsiveness of MCU movies is you're expecting how it's going to interconnect. This is just one of those random installments placed there. Whereas, the make-believe of DC is make-believe, but the make-believe of Marvel is up there above everyone else. This conversation is more interesting than the film. So go, Laura.
It was a really funny thing. It was that I was watching TV with my mum. Zach wasn't here; he was at home, and the trailer to the new Suicide Squad came out on the TV, and yeah, I went, "Oh, what a load of bollocks that looks like." So Mum went, "I've never really liked DC."
What a bitch.
And I went, "Well," I said, "I think DC's better." I said, "It's darker." She went, "But I prefer Marvel." And I said, "Well, I think Marvel is a bit too flowery."
Cue the flower.
And when I say flowery, I mean it's bright and it's shiny and it's annoying.
It all looks the same. Carbon copies of each thing that's come before.
And then the thing is then my mum went, "You do realise that DC is make-believe? And Marvel is...
No shit!
Marvel is real? Is it real? Marvel's real." To which I said, "So the reason why I can't like Marvel is because DC is make-believe, but you can like Marvel just because." And she went, "Yeah."
Great argument, mama.
Brilliant, Mum. Well done. Anyway, as far as this film's concerned, I'm unfortunately not going to give it... Oh, no, actually, I will give it 1 star because I really, really enjoyed Florence Pugh and the guy that stole the show for you.
David Harbour.
Thank you.
As Red Guardian, a wannabe
I
Captain America.
I thought it was quite funny.
The thing is, the severity of the whole the Red Room and the establishment of the spies. I feel like if this was made earlier on, it could have been its separate trilogy. But everything that they need to establish is done and cut off to a really rushed point at the end. We don't get much background into the Red Room. It's all very scatological, and everything that should have been achieved within a trilogy or earlier on in the Marvel setup is all thrown into this. It's like, oh, just throw it all in there. It all makes sense. There's no tension, really, because, Natasha Romanoff doesn't die in this. There's the only integral...
She kind of did at the end.
Reasoning... No, I mean, she's not going to die coming from this. There's no stakes for her in this film.
All right.
Whereas she died at the end of Avengers Endgame. This movie, it has no integrity to it, really. There's no propulsion. The only thing going for it is Rachel Weisz, David Harbour, Florence Pugh, and kind of ScarJo. She basically moulds into the background. This isn't really her film, as much as it's claiming to be a Black Widow movie and about giving more screen time to Scarlett Johansson to flesh out this character. Well, she's had 12 other movies to do it. We know her as a character. If you wanted to do it, do it earlier on. So everything that could have culminated sprinkled throughout other movies or its own separate sub-trilogy, like they do in the Marvel Universe, would have worked. But it's all thrown into one lump sum and tied with a neat bow at the end, and it didn't offer anything. It didn't afford anything. It didn't fill in a gap that we were going, oh, what's going on? If you're a fan of the comics, the Red Room has a great big connotation, but then the severity of these women who are almost brainwashed and have their free will taken from them, the case and thing of vasectomies and all that, it's done in a jokey manner that you can't take the severity and more stronger thematics of what has happened to these characters and the whole world surrounding it. Like, these are meant to be quite a haunting, daunting thing, but it's handled in such an offhand. Also,
Hysterectomy.
that's it.
Vasectomies and men.
Hysterectomy. It undercuts everything with a joke. It's too jokey, and you lose probably more sincerity and serious, tones that could have elevated it. It tries to show itself as being this one thing, whereas it's not. Also, the character of Taskmaster is wasted. There's not much involved there. Then that's written off and tied up with a nice neat bow. Taskmaster is purely there to look cool and badass, and the big twist at the end is more who's beneath the mask, not character-wise, but performance-wise. And then when it dawns on you, you're kind of like, why did you get that actress just to be concealed throughout it? A lot of big ideas cut in half, folded over, and just put in for the sake of putting it in. It's not a well fleshed out film. It's very boring. Also, the fly that featured was more captivating than the actual movie. There was a fly on the projector lens, and that fly's progress through the film's life was more interesting than the story, and then some of the performances and the action. Also, the action wasn't that interesting or unique. It was just big CGI aerial fights and dull. So Black Widow for me gets 1 star. No. It gets half a star.
Good.
So, we hope you enjoyed the review for Black Widow. Remember to like, share and subscribe. And if you want more, just go through a video list. There are going to be plentiful. There's going to be plentiful. It's going to be what? There's loads of videos of us, okay?
Bye, guys.